What's going on, guys? Today, we're going to go through a list of oddly vague threats that you don't hear often and or enough. Depending on how you perceive these sayings, threats, I think it's entirely up to the individual to judge these, but these are just some that I put together. So, and by the end of this, we're also going to have extensions that you can add on to the end of the sentence with a comma. Trust me, it's all going to make sense in the end. So I say we get straight into it. First one is pack a lunch. This, again, can mean a multitude of things, but it typically doesn't mean anything good. If someone says this to you, they're basically telling you to buckle up and prepare, because it's going to be a long ride, and it's not going to be fun for one of you, right? So that's one you may or may not have heard yet. Next one. I'm going to count to 3. This one really makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because it's primarily used by psychopaths. Again, in my humble opinion, counting to 3 is just psychopathic behavior. I mean, why not just do what you want to do straight away? Why do you have to count to 3? Do you maybe want to give the person a chance to make a move at 2 or at 1? You know, these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Nonetheless, this saying is still oddly scary and oddly threatening. Absolutely. This is going to get bowling shoe ugly. One that I have not come across in person, but still a very descriptive threat. If you've ever been bowling, which I'd say, 90% of the world's population probably has. That's not right. Maybe. Who's been to a bowling alley? Comment down below. But we can all imagine how ugly it's going to get just off of that statement alone. I will roll you like dice. Now, quick grammar check. Is it roll you like die or roll you like dice? I'm actually not 100% sure. If this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'd probably have to phone a friend or ask the audience. I'm 50-50 on that. But still, much like the bowling shoe one, very descriptive, right? When you roll dice/die, it gets real bumpy. It gets really active. So it will get physical. In other words, we all know what that saying describes. How about I freshen your breath? Very odd. This one might take the cake, actually. Not a classic one. Very new school. Actually, this might be very old school. This might be like a 50s thing. This might be something that I said back in like, I don't know, back in the day. Just back in the day. This is something your grandpa probably threw out there and on a whim at the local pub / diner, and the rest was history. But this, you don't want to take this one literal. You do not want to take this one literal, because if you're just an unsuspecting chap who's just very pacifist and very cool and chill, you might actually assume that, the guy has like a breath mint or something for you, and that's just not the case. Let's see what else we got here. You couldn't lift a wheel of cheese. Oh, yes. Okay, now a very versatile saying. Very elementary school, if I'm being honest. Very ABC, 1, 2, 3. You couldn't lift and then insert anything. And you basically have yourself a ready-made odd threat. As far as fighting words go, this is a go-to for a lot of people. You couldn't lift a carton of milk. You couldn't lift a double whopper. You couldn't lift a piece of floss. I don't know. Get creative with it. Have fun with it. This one's for families. Take that early shower. One for the athletes. If you're not big into sports, this is probably one you shouldn't have in your arsenal. I'd probably leave that one at home. But nonetheless, still could come in handy. We all know taking that early shower. We all know what that means. I'm about to be on you like a cheap suit. Need I say more? Very classic, very classy, actually. Very high end, this threat. Yeah, I actually don't mind that one at all. It's, in a weird way, it's almost polite. You were on thin ice. This one's very tame, actually. Looking back, this one's actually pretty harmless. First of all, if you are ever on thin ice in real life, like on a lake somewhere, depending on the temperatures, it doesn't mean it's not always a life or death scenario, right? So already that's very disarming. That's like, okay, whatever, you're telling me worst case scenario, I take a cold plunge. Like, okay, no problem. But if you add a mighty in there, if you're on mighty thin ice, now we're heating up a little bit. So it just depends. It depends on the situation. But one that I don't think you have to watch out for. I'm going to put you in a straitjacket. Pretty straightforward, no pun intended. of course, but I guess my question would be, and, right? Like, so you put me in a straitjacket, and then what? Pretty open-ended statement here that doesn't really do much. It doesn't do much with me. I would ask, for this person to elaborate, because this could be a sound the alarms type of threat, but I would have to know what's next for me, I guess. Anything else? Question mark. Again, a go-to for many people. Of course, sarcastic. Just overflowing with sarcasm, not meant to be an actual question, but sort of along the same lines as, I'm going to count to 3. There it is. I'm going to count to, just meant to give your opposition one last chance to maybe turn the other way. But yeah, 2 words, and you already know what's up. What else do we have here? I got time today. Doesn't necessarily have to be a threat, honestly. It is used in that context a lot of the time, because if you have time today, that means you have time to spend. That means you're not afraid to be wasteful with your time. And of course, what you're going to do with that time, it can mean so many things. But this one, I would categorize this one as like not that crazy. You might be good if someone says this to you, might be in the clear. Or he might have said it past you, he might have said it to someone else behind you or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily, my ears wouldn't perk up hearing that, if I'm being honest. Do I have your blessing? Question. Okay. Respect. Automatically, just I have to just go ahead and respect that. It's not every day you hear someone be so polite about the process. But you still know in the back of your head, that is not a question someone wants the answer to. You can't park here. It must be private property. Again, not something that necessarily escalates a situation. But there is a hint of, no tolerance, very sort of, I don't know, I'd watch out for this person. If someone says this, monitor this person. Maybe even steer clear, because I don't like that one. Okay, and now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, we have some extensions that you can add willingly. These work pretty much with every threat we just mentioned. They're interchangeable. So go go ahead and pick them. Pick your load out here, if you will, because there's a lot of options. First one, buddy, right? So, like, for example, you can't park here, comma, buddy. I will say anything sort of belittling, any sort of cutification, if you will, if that's even a word. Someone calls you anything with a Y, bunny, buddy, teeny weeny guy, like this type of stuff, automatically a threat. This person has no respect for you. Pal, again, he's not your pal. He, she, they, them, they're not your pal. And they're making that very obvious by calling you a pal. Then we have any sort of version of funny guy, comedian, joker. Obviously, nothing is funny about the situation that's about to go down, and therefore, they're just being cute by using one of those. Chump. I mean, what do you even say to that? Guy calls you a chump. A shrimp is another one that is just not to be taken lightly, if I'm being honest. Yeah. My friend, again, this is sort of same thing. Nobody is friends here. We're about to squabble up, and it's just, there's nothing about that is friendly whatsoever. Amateur. This one stings, I'll be honest. Just on a personal note, somebody calls you an amateur. Man, that's going to take some time to recover. It's not nice. It's never nice. It is like, it's almost like silent but deadly type of thing. It's like very smooth, it flies low, this one, and just hits you out of nowhere sometimes. Do you have anything? Yes, numb, skull, nuts, anything with numb. Again, like, what are we doing? What's the plan? At this point, if somebody calls you this, you're just, what's the route? What direction are we going in here? Stop being vague, And then last but not least, we have tick and poser. Tick is another one. I would not. There's a lot of animals, insects, creatures out there that I have no problem with being compared to, but a tick is not one of them. No. And a poser. Gosh. That's a nightmare as well, if I'm being honest, because I am many things, but not a poser, like, that's just, come on. But anyways, this is the list. It's not definitive. Let me know what else we could add. But keep these in mind, they can maybe get you out of a jam. They certainly have with me. So this is where we're at with it.